I'm not bothered, paying full price for this thing. No, not at all. Microsoft's mobile platform has been making a little news of late. First, the OG Surface Duo hit some fire sale prices, and we saw a whole crop of new users jump on board the dual display train. Second, a leak popped up last week showing a Surface Duo with a large domino camera bulge on the rear. Ostensibly, a Surface 2 is in the works. I bought mine full retail. My Duo is a first batch launch device, and I'm still feeling really good about that. We have a totally upside down perception of brands and cost. Certain brands are allowed to charge more for their products, and others are only allowed to compete by undercutting those prices of the acceptable premium labels. When it comes to portable gadgets, putting a hinge on a phone automatically makes it a more expensive engineering proposition. We can always wait out a product, wait for sales and price drops. But that's true of every phone, and it's not unique to folding phones or to dual display devices. One of the premiums I paid for was getting to use it longer. I have a few friends who grabbed a Duo, then they returned it, then they picked it up again when it went on sale, and they absolutely saved some cash overall. But I got to keep using my Duo that whole time. And I feel I got my money's worth. My feelings have obviously evolved over this window of use, but I find the concept of demanding lower prices in tech reviews to be kind of eye-rolling. It's a no-brainer that we would all prefer gadgets be cheaper. It's not really insightful commentary to say, well, it would be worth it if it were half the price. Yeah, that'd be nice. Always. But tech doesn't work that way. A company pours a ton of cash into years of R&D. Eventually, they pull the trigger on releasing a product. And if that product doesn't make some cash, we consumers don't get creative or innovative competition. Microsoft seems to have deep enough pockets to weather the Duos that sat on shelves and sold at crazy fire sale prices. And hopefully this speaks to a commitment to this line. The original Surface Pro took 3 generations before consumers really took it seriously. A Surface phone will probably take even longer to gain the same kind of mind share, especially given the current state of the mobile market. And along the way, we have to wrestle a bit with who the right consumer is for a product like this. I use it a lot. I don't know if there are a lot of consumers like me. This is all personal and the emotional aspect of using a gadget. What the Duo has done for me, it's almost single-handedly rekindled an interest in using Android for more tablet-y devices. For a long while now, I felt Android was great for phones, but if you wanted to move to a larger display, you'd be better served moving to Chrome, Windows, or using some kind of desktop-style interface like DeX. Microsoft, in its first major Android release, showed me a couple of UI tweaks that catapulted Android into a much higher tier of multitasking and productivity. This kind of UI manipulation is not easy. And we can fairly point to the initial software teething pains on the Duo. But if you've been along for the ride, you got to see how even Microsoft's concept has evolved and improved over these iterative updates. There's a wonderfully careful consideration for how this software leans into the hardware. Dual display is obviously a little different than a folding display, but the Duo doesn't treat the separate screens as starkly separate as LG's version of the dual display. The V60 feels like 2 wholly distinct phones stapled side by side. The Duo obviously feels like a more continuous product, but there's an expectation that unfolded, you're still going to use apps in a more half-screen format first. Unlike launching an app on a single folding screen and then using gestures to split screen into multitask. And why this matters? Why this matters to me, it's one of the more organic interactions I've experienced in recent memory. It's like the reverse of multitasking on an iPad. You start half screen and a swipe will bring you to full screen. The gestures are fantastically considered. This hardware has handled a lot of daily home use very well. I haven't been taking it out and about as much because you know, everything that's happening around us in the world today, but being a little more careful with it. The hinges are still beautiful, and I've been fortunate to avoid the cracking around my USB-C port. The Duo has genuinely followed me all around my house though, and I use it most frequently in the kitchen. I've been careful with my Duo, but I haven't been completely kid gloving it. And like the V60, the thing I love about dual display, keeping a recipe up on one screen while catching a friend's live stream on the other, streaming a documentary on one screen, playing a game on the other, and just how well these most recent updates from Microsoft have improved those screen rotation and orientation issues that the device started with. All in a gadget, in a form factor that can be propped up in nearly any orientation for any kind of use you might need from it. A proper tablet would be safer and more durable in my kitchen, but then I'd need a stand or a case or some kind of prop to hold it up. It's totally a first world problem. And that's what brings me back around. This is the most excited I've ever been for an LTE connected tablet, an iPad mini style slate that you can fold up and put in your pocket. That's an incredibly specific conversation. So starting with that criteria, the Duo is nearly perfect. It could be a premium companion device to another phone, or there are some people who won't care about phone camera quality and will be fine with the above average selfie shooter as their only camera. Looking to the future, anything we do to make the Duo a better phone can only come at the expense of this folding tablet aesthetic, like a domino rear camera bulge, or making each half thicker to include a larger battery to properly power a thirstier, more powerful SoC. The nuance here is so fine, and we act like design is easy, but a tiny adjustment in one area brings significant challenges in another. So I'm kind of torn. The tech reviewer in me is hoping there might be some kind of trade-in or upgrade deal. Maybe I can swap a Duo for a reduced price on a Duo too. My more sentimental side though, I feel like the Duo should be a museum piece phone in my collection, a special place on my bookshelf for a piece of crossover tablet phone hardware that tried something really ambitious. And the really nerdy emo side of all of this is I just adore this little book form factor, and I'm worried I won't like the Duo 2 as much if all of the leaks and rumors prove true. It gets real complicated in here as a gadget nerd, but if you're just jumping on the Duo train, maybe you got a good sale, I think you're in for a treat. We throw around phrases like, well, there's nothing quite like it, but truly, this is one of the most unique mobile products I've ever handled. And it's extremely difficult to convey that over a YouTube video. Short story long, catch up on all those updates, install the betas for the Microsoft launcher and SwiftKey, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. And if you're one of the old guard like me, maybe you even jumped in on a launch device, good deal holding out. I feel like I got my tablet money's worth. So I hope future experiments can impress me just like this has. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. Supporting your favorite content creators has never been more critical than it is today. So I greatly appreciate those of you who are. You're checking out the links down under these videos. Maybe you're shopping a little merch. That kind of stuff really does help keep production rolling on this channel. There's a full list of all of my affiliates and partnerships on SomeGadgetGuy.com, or you might consider, just maybe, joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically a collection of the coolest tech pals on the web today, so I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, and the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I will catch you all on the next video.